channel, Janae Budgets, where luxury is in the budget. On today's video, I'll be discussing where my budget journey began and then walking you through how to start if you are wanting to use a digital budget. Okay, so I originally started my budgeting journey using a virtual cash binder and tracking tool, and I watched a lot of YouTube videos on how to do this, and it took me a while to figure out the style and organization method that I liked and that worked not only with my budget and my personality, but with my schedule as well. I wanted something that was not only aesthetically pleasing, but that I thought I would get the most use out of as well. So in this video, I will show you how I set up my own digital budget, giving you a step-by-step from when I first began budgeting about 5 years ago. So stay tuned. Okay. So I'm using Google Sheets for my budget. First, I'm going to highlight the area that I want to merge myself in. This is where I'm going to put my title sequence. So for my title sequence, it'll just be Janae Budgets. I'm going to center that, make it in the center of that box. I like how that looks. Next, I'm going to go ahead and change the font and customize it to my liking. Just play around with a couple of different fonts. And then once I figure out one I like, I'm going to add a little extra step by changing the color in the background, just to make it look even more nice. Now you can leave it like this. I'm going to take it a step further by going into the box itself, and I'm going to double line the outside lines. And then I'm going to change the color. Since I made the inside blue, I'll make the lines blue. You can't really see it, but trust me, they are blue. In this title sequence, you can change it to be whatever you want based off the month that you choose, or if you wanted to do something more specific to your budget as well. Next, I'm kind of going to repeat that process, but I'm going to highlight the lines that I want, and I'm going to create a border all around those. So as you can see, that blue color was still there. I'm going to change that to black. Now that I have this border, I'm going to take the first two lines and merge them. And inside, I'm going to put my budget overview. So I always like to have a budget overview box inside just so it has all of my different expenses and income sources in one place. I'm going to center that. I'm going to change the inside color of that box to be blue so that it matches the aesthetic as well. So inside of that is where you're going to put all of your different expenses. I like to have 3 different categories. And of course, the bottom row will be for totaling it up. For my 2 other columns, I'm going to click currency so that whatever amount that I enter in, it will show as a $ amount. I'm going to repeat that process again. So I'm going to highlight the area that I want. This time I'm highlighting 4 areas because I want that first box to be where I put the title. The second will be my budgeted income, my actual, and then the difference between those two. I'm going to go ahead and add that border, highlight the first 2 lines, and merge those cells to give me one title border. And I'm going to change the color. I'm going to stick with that blue, just a different shade. And in here, this is where I'm going to add my income sources. So I'm going to make that in the center, change it to match my font, a different font, make it a little bit bigger, bolder. And I don't like the black text. I'm actually going to change that to white so it pops out more. Now that I have my income sources and I like the way this looks, I'm going to put that total down on the last line. And you don't need this many lines if you have less income sources or more. You can always alter this to be the best fit for you. In that first box, I'm going to put the name. The second, my budgeted, or what I budgeted my income to be, my actual income, and then the difference between those two. All right, I like the way this looks. So I'm then going to highlight that, and I'm actually going to make sure they are in the center. and then bold it so it pops out. And I'm going to change the color. All right, just again, to be a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. Down at the bottom, since this is a total, I'm going to hit the equal sign. I'm going to hit sum. I'm going to highlight all the different rows above it. So that way, whenever I enter in a total, like I'm doing here in the example, it will calculate the sum of all totals in that row or in that column. All right, then I'm going to click that bottom right corner and drag it across so it does the same thing for all three of those columns that I made. As you can see here, it has the 60 and the 50. So I'm going to highlight my budget, my actual and difference, and change that to a currency so that they are dollar amounts. Now that I have my income sources, I'm going to add that to my budget overview. So I'll type in income. Actually, I'm going to type in name here, budget, my budgeted, and then my, let's do the difference here. Actually, let's make that my actual income because we want to know what we actually made, not just what we budgeted for. All right, so I'm going to type in income. I'm going to highlight, change that to match my little color scheme on the other side. My actual income will equal the actual from my income sources box. So you can, okay, so I think what I'm going to do here, I'm going to change it around to be my budget and my actual. I'm going to copy that code back over so that my actual from my income sources is equivalent to the actual from my budget overview. Next, I'm going to highlight or copy and paste my income sources box that I created over. And I've already done the hard work for this, so I'm just going to change the name from income sources, and I'm actually going to label it expenses. So I have expenses. I like the way that looks. I'm going to change the color. You can absolutely keep the same colors. I just want to add a little bit more variety. I'm going to change my expenses to green. Now, for my expenses, I want to add it over into my budget overview. So I'm going to type in expenses, and then I'm going to go back to the actual equals the actual for my expenses, hit enter. So now if I were to enter $5 for actual expenses in my budget overview, you can see that $5 is reflected there. All right, so for my expenses, I'm actually going to break this up into my fixed expenses. I'm going to copy and paste that box over down below. I'm just going to pick a random area, paste it here. And then this will be my variable expenses. So, and the variable expenses, these are things that like fluctuate throughout your budget. I'm going to change that color. Let's do orange. All right. And I like the way this looks. So I'm going to copy and paste my box one more time. Select a random space, and I'm going to paste it here. And this last box category will be for my debts. And then because they're debts, I'm thinking let's go ahead and change the color to be a red color, right? Because debts are bad. So now that I have those 4 categories, I'm going to put the 2 that I added over into my budget overview. So expenses, I have my variable expenses. Actually, that link's a little long. Let's see if I can wrap the text. No, I don't like the way that looks. I think actually I'm just going to get rid of expenses and I'll just keep variable here. And then actually these were my fixed expenses. I'm going to make sure that matches up so the actual totals are correct, fixed, and then I'll type in variable here. That equals, and I'm going to repeat it for debts as well. Now, there are extra spaces here. That is okay. You're going to hit the sum, add that up. You can keep those extra spaces for in case you have additional income sources or things that you add to your budget as well. And then again, I'm equaling it. I'm going to hit that sum, drag that down so that any number that's typed there will be equaled. And you could get rid of those spaces if you'd like to. Now would be the time to do it. If you would like to have a different aesthetic for your budget, or if you just don't like those open spaces. All right, now I'm going to go in and put in some names of different expenses and incomes and debts. All right, so let's say for teaching, let's say I budgeted to earn $1,200, and my actual I earned is $1,200. In this difference tab, I like to get a little extra here, so I'm going to equal my actual minus my budgeted. When I hit enter, it'll show me the difference between those two. So I'm going to repeat that for, let's say, DoorDash amount, put in what I budgeted, put in what I actually earned, and then repeat that process. Or I'm going to grab the bottom right corner and drag it all the way down. So you can see it does the calculation and the math for me. All right, so I'm now going to repeat that for my other 3 category boxes. So I'm going to start with my fixed expenses, put in random numbers, drag it down. Okay, so now I'm going to go a step further. I'm going to highlight the whole difference box, and I'm going to format it and use conditional formatting. And I'm going to format the cells so it is not empty. I'm going to change that to be if whatever information in that cell is greater than, I'm going to put 0 here. So if it is greater than 0, for my formatting style is where I want to change the color. So none of these are greater than 0, so the color isn't going to change right now. But if, let's say, I change or do an additional format to less than or equal to 0, as you can see, the entire box highlights red. So I'm going to actually change that to green, because if it's less than or equal to 0, that means it's actually a positive amount. All right, so you can choose to highlight the full boxes. For me, I like to just change the color of the text. So I'm going to repeat that, add another rule, and if it's greater than 0, I'm sorry, less than or equal to 0, I want that color to be green. So pretty shade of green. I'm going to hit done here. I'll see my conditional formatted rules. When I click out of it, you'll see that my text colors have changed to green. That means those are all positive amounts. So either broke even or that negative 100 is actually $100 that I budgeted over what I actually spent. And you'll see that reflected throughout the entire column. Now I think I want to make this green a little bit deeper. You can't use the text at the top. It won't change it, but you'll just go back, click that format, conditional formatting, and then you're going to choose the box that you want to change, and then you can change the color this way. So I make it a little bit darker. Then once I hit done, you'll see that it's the color that you chose. So now I'm just going to repeat that in my other boxes as well. So again, you're highlighting it, format, conditional formatting. You're then going to go format cells if it is greater than 0 or whatever number you would like to choose. Once you do that, you're going to change the text color, whichever color you choose. For me, I'm choosing red. Another rule, I'm going to change if it's less than or equal to. Change that to a green color. Great. Cool. So you can actually see here, I made the mistake of keeping the box green or the space green instead of the text. So I'm just going to go back into my conditional formatting, choose the box that is highlighted all green, I'm going to change the text to be my red if it's greater than 0. Oh, okay. So change that to be none, and then change my text. Okay, sticky keys to be red. There we go. And then I'm going to hit done. So now when I click out of that, it should be formatted how I like it. So you can see the numbers in red. That is because I budgeted only $1,700. I was $21 over that, so that's red because it's over what I budgeted. Same for the Wi-Fi. I was 39 cents over, and then it'll have those totals at the bottom. I'm just going to repeat that for my last 2 boxes as well. I'm going to make sure those numbers add up correctly. All right, and make sure the shades of green are correct. Okay, so now that I have my budget calculated in a way that I like, I'm going to take it a step further. Again, you can stop here if you want to, but I want to add some visuals to my budget. So I'm going to highlight the space I want to use. I'm going to insert a chart here. So once I do that, I can pick on the side the type of chart that I want to use. I think I want to use a pie chart. So next I'm going to add values and select the data range. So for me, one column is required. So I'm going to do my actual expenses, and it's going to populate that pie chart for me. I'm just going to resize it and put it back into a position that I like. All right, so I think I want that directly under my budget overview. All right. So you then have your chart editor, so you can customize it to look however you like, either changing the legend if you used one, your chart axis, your pie slices, the chart itself, or the style of the chart. I think I'm going to start with my chart and X titles. So I'm going to label this budget overview. And you can see as I'm typing it here on the right hand side, it's going to appear on the left. So I want this to be in the center. I'm going to change my text color. Let's keep that blue theme. Okay, I like the way that looks. So next I'm going to go to my pie slices. And because we're keeping that blue theme, I'm going to go in and change the color of each of my slices to a different shade of blue. And I'm just going to go down the color chart. So slice 3, 3 to 3, slice 4, slice 4, and then my final slice, slice 5. All right. And again, you can customize this to be the same colors as the colors you made your income source expenses, like those different charts, or you can be as creative as you want. You can also change the distance from the center if you wanted to pull out one category more than the others as well, a smaller category or a larger category. So next, you can also customize it. I'll just go through quickly the different customizations. All right, so I want to change the background color. Again, just make it pop a little bit more. I'm going to do a green color just because I think blue and green goes together. And then I want to make it 3D. So again, it just adds that extra pizzazz, makes it look a little bit more luxury in my opinion. And then I'm going to go in and I think I want to add percentages to my pie chart. Value and percentage won't work for me. So yes, percentages. So even if I don't know exactly what that pie chart means, I can look and see that I've used 50, 19, or 23% of my budget here. So I think once I am happy with that, okay, so I'm just playing around here, switching it vertically, horizontally. I only did one row, so that doesn't matter for me. So I'm going to exit out of that. and I like the way that looks. So I think for the purpose of this budget, I want to add even more to it. So I think I'm going to go ahead and add some more graphs. So in order to add more graphs like this one here, I need to go in and rearrange things. So I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to cut or Command X on a MacBook. And I'm going to drag it down to where I want it and paste it there to be even with my fixed expenses. Then I highlight a section up top that I want to use. Let's make it exactly above the income sources. I'm going to insert, and then I want to add another chart. All right, so for this chart, I'm going to use let's use a line chart. All right, so I have my series and my x-axis. I'm going to put this within the highlighted area that I chose first so that I know it's exactly where I want it. All right, so now for my x-axis, I'm going to move this over, and I think I'm going to use my income sources actual for my x-axis. Hit OK. And then for my next data range, I'm going to use my actual expenses. So I'm going to go click on that little grid there, add another range, and I'm going to highlight for my fixed actual. All right, so once I do that, you can see it hasn't popped up yet. If that happens, you just got to go to Add Series, and then you're going to click on those series that you added. And you can add as many as you like. So I did it for my income sources and my expenses. And it will automatically have the bar graph there and a line, the difference between them. So I'm going to change the background color to match my budget overview with that green background. All right, and I like the way this looks. So the next thing I'm going to do is just smooth it out a little bit. Next, I'm going to add my chart and axis titles. So you can add a title for the chart if you'd like to, or a subtitle. You'll just type it into the box. For me, I think I'm just going to add my axes title. So for my horizontal axis, this is where I put my income sources. So it'll show at the bottom. And then I'm going to bold it so it sticks out a little bit more. Make sure it's centered. And then make sure it's in black. All right, and I'm going to change it to my vertical axes. And I'm going to put that as my expenses. Bold it and make sure my text color is black. All right, so you can see those changes are made. And I'm going to add some data labels just so I can see the exact amounts, not only for different incomes, but it shows that $61.39 trajectory there. So I just think it looks really cool and it looks professional. All right. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is insert one last graph. But first, I'm going to organize the bottom because it still looks a bit wonky. So I'm going to highlight my debts. And then I think I'm actually going to move that over to be equal with my expenses. And then I'm going to add another one just to even it out. So instead of debts, and here I'm going to put, let's do savings challenges. Okay, so I do a lot of saving challenges, so why not add that category? So saving challenges, I'm going to delete my credit card information there. Then I'm going to add that to my budget overview for my saving challenges. Okay, it does that thing where it cuts the line again. It's okay, we'll fix that in a second. I'm going to equal for the total. All right, and then I'm going to actually wrap this line. And because it's two words, I think it looks a little bit better here. All right, Next, I'm going to change the color, give it its own special, let's do like a pinkish purple color. All right, so saving challenges has its own, and I'm going to put in some saving challenges that I have right now. I'm going to put HYSA. One cool feature, if you hit insert and you go all the way down to where it says note, this little sticky note will pop up, and you can actually type what any abbreviations mean. So for me, HYSA equals my high yield savings account. Account. Okay, so now if I click off of that, anytime I hover over where it says HYSA and I need a reminder, I know that stands for my high yield savings account. I can also add additional notes here. So let's say if I have an IOU for one of my saving challenges or any notes that I need to make about, let's say, a credit card or anything like that, I can add that here and it'll always be there. All right, for my next saving challenge, let's put our emergency fund. Yes, so, and then I'm just gonna make up some numbers here. So let's say I budgeted 200 for saving challenges, 300 for my emergency fund. I actually saved $205 for my saving challenge. Don't want to do that. Actually, I don't want that to be right. I'm going to do $200. I broke even. And then for my emergency fund, let's say I actually only saved 300. All right, so that's all green right now. Cool. So now that I have that box, I'm going to add another graph or chart at the top. So I'm going to highlight the area that I want to use. And I want this one to be a little bit bigger. Hit insert. I'm going to add a chart. And the chart that I'm going to add, I'm going to drag it over within my highlighted section so I know it's exactly where I want it to be. Perfect. And I think for this one, I want to try something new. So I'm actually going to go down to the other section and I want to, I don't want to use a line graph. No, okay. I'm going to go other, and I'm going to use this scorecard chart. That looks fun. Okay, so I'm going to add a key value. And I'm going to select the data range. I'm actually only going to use the total for this one. All right, we'll see how that works. Perfect. So it says my total up top is 500. And I want to add a baseline value. So the baseline value will be what I budgeted for my saving challenge. So I'm going to go ahead and enter a number in here. Let's say $10,000. That'll be the goal. When I hit baseline value, and I want that $10,000 show, I'm going to hit that little square in the corner, select the box for my data range, and hit OK. So now you can see that I've saved $500 in total for my savings challenges, for my high yield savings account, and my emergency fund. All right, and now that I have those numbers here, and the 500 down below, you'll see, I'm actually going to change that. Maybe I want it to be 900. So say 900. So it changes at the top too. So for my $10,000 goal, I am $8,900 away from that. Or I've saved $1,100 so far. Right, so I'm going to customize my scorecard to match the other graphs and inserts. And yeah.
So I use my virtual budget tracker for about 1.5 years consistently throughout college, but I did fall off from it because my first job out of college did not leave me with a lot of free time to be on my computer. So I transitioned from my virtual cash binder to a physical one because I got a bit lazy tracking my funds how I was supposed to. I do tend to alternate back and forth between them, but I think I want to become more regular with my physical cash tracking, especially for my channel, to build those better habits for my soft life. Because remember, and as you'll hear me say a lot on this channel, luxury is always in the budget, babes. So with that, thank you for clicking on my video. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more videos like this, or if a virtual budget like this works for you. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.